and get pregnant. Okay. Next part of my confidence interval, let me name my test. We're going to do a 95% confidence interval for two population proportions. Sorry, there's no way for me to edit out the coughs and stuff.
Do we say independent population?
So we'll say two independent samples. But yeah, you could say two independent populations. That would be fine too. What distribution do you think we get to use? T's for means, populations, we get to use normal distribution. And we're going to do two independent samples. Okay. Let's check our conditions. This is not a simple random sample of people getting IVF. They're all the same clinic. They're all in maybe the same doctor. We don't know. It may be a controlled randomized experiment. What would be randomized in this case? Who is prayed for? Who doesn't? Apparently, there was some more controls being done. One of the things that I read talks about that. So we'll say yes. Kind of hesitant to see, but we'll say it's a controlled randomized experiment. My check for normality is, remember for proportions, we have to do that n times p, n times 1 minus p thing. So I need the sample size of the women who got prayed for, times, times the sample proportion of the women that got prayed for. That in this case is 88, 88, and there were 44 out of that 88 that got prayed for, so that's 44. That has to be greater than or equal to 5 in this case. When it was one sample, it was 10. When it was two samples, 5 is good enough. And then if I multiply the sample size times the complement, which was the same number, 44 out of 88, is also greater than or equal to 5. But I don't stop there. I have two samples. So I need to think of that sample where they didn't get prayed for, their proportion of people who got pregnant. That sample size was 81, and 21 people got pregnant. So that's 21. That's greater than or equal to 5. And then, of course, the complement. And that was 60. That's greater than or equal to 5. There has been an AP question where they expected you to show all 4 of those checks in order to get your E on that part of the question. Okay. Independence. Well, if we were sampling from a population of women who get IVF, then I would want my population of people that get prayed for to be greater than 10 times my sample size, are 880 and 810. Oops. So population needs to be bigger than 10 times the sample size, but we didn't really do a simple random sample, so we're just going to kind of hope that the observations are independent. Okay. So, maybe we're okay here with conditions. Hopefully we are. So my next step is to do the math. Now if you get out your calculator, and I don't have the one on the computer anymore, but if you get out your calculator and you go to stat, arrow over to tests, I want you to tell me what where I should be. Interval, proportions. Sample means means. We're doing an interval, so go down. It is B. The 2 proportion Z interval. Confidence intervals will be the INT ones. Okay? So you hit that, and your X1 is the number of people that got pregnant from your first sample. That would be the ones that got prayed for. Or you can do, the other one. And then your N1 is that sample size. Then the X2 is the 21 people that got pregnant that didn't get prayed for out of the 81. And then you just give it a confidence level of 95%. And I read I'm going to call 0.099, I'm going to call that 10%. And 38%. And probably from the computer output, you should put down that the proportion of the women that got, in the sample proportion of the women that got prayed for and got pregnant was 5%. And the sample proportion of the women that got pregnant that didn't get prayed for was, it says 0.259, so I'll call it 0.26. You see where I'm reading those off the readout? Okay. Okay. Now we're on. We are 95% confident. Yeah, everything that if you put down everything that gets spit out of your calculator, you probably won't go wrong. 95% confident that women who get IVF and get prayed for that the proportion of women who get IVF and get prayed for is higher than those who don't get prayed for. And higher by how much? By 10 to, what was it, 38? To 38%. I hope that sentence makes sense. The proportion of women who get IVF and get prayed for. Oh, no, I didn't say get pregnant. The proportion of women who get IVF and get prayed for and get pregnant, boy, and get preggers. I put that in the wrong place. And get preggers is higher than those who are not prayed for by 10 to 38%. Okay. So, one of the people whose name was involved in the study took his name off the study. Somebody else that was involved in the study has been known for fraudulent reports. So this whole thing could have been a whole hoax. Then, the numbers may have been totally cooked up. Who knows? But it was big in its time. The report was big in its time, and controversy has kind of gone down a little bit.